Excuse me, madam, are you G. Ilgadane? Why yes, that's me. You're under arrest for tax evasion and fraud. You're coming with me, huh? Does the kingdom of Miscelladia sound familiar? You won't take me alive. Make my day, pig. I'm Gilgadane. I've set out to prove that I'm worthy of being amongst the top tier of people that play an old medieval point and click game. I have a grind ahead of me, and right now I need to strike gold. I have one goal. The Max Infernal Cape. This is my infernal dream. Oi oi, it's time for more Infernal Dream, so let's get right to the cream. My bank value at the start is 357 mil. During my filming though, a friend lent me an Armadillo crossbow, but we'll ignore that for now. Most of this episode will be on Tombs of a Massacre because that's what I've been doing the most, and let me tell you now, purples don't exist. But first, I'm gonna be real with you guys, I love doing Slayer bosses, but it's such slow XP that it's actually putting me off doing the skill at all. At least for now, I'm gonna go back to regular monsters and try storming through the levels. At the start of the series, I set a Slayer goal and I've made nearly zero progress since then, so it's time to change that. First task I got was Lizardmen. To speed it up, I knocked out the current hard task so that I could swap out my Shazian helm for the Slayer helm and get that sweet damage boost. It was pretty easy. Lizardmen are good money and good fun, especially when... Oh my fucking god. Iron Men everywhere hate me for my 300kc Warhammer. Demonic gorillas, will they reward me today? Oh yes! Get in! Welcome back to Skillionaire, you know the deal. Let's go right on ahead and spin that wheel. Herbalore! I just felt millions of GP cry out in fear. Now, Herbalore is quite pricey, so buy nightmare staff! Seriously though, I don't really need the staff for much right now, and by the time I do actually need it, I could probably buy it back. This is a little frivolous, but the 20 mil left over fund supplies for DOA to get me a few purples at least, if they exist. Anyway, we're doing extended anti-fires. The grind should only take me like 2.5 hours. I bought all the materials and then realised it was 84 to make them, so I bought pies to boost rather than faff about selling them all and losing money and buying other stuff. I'm smart as hell, man. I have a master's degree. My metrics are telling me a lot of you aren't subscribed, and I'm really sick right now, so make me feel better and subscribe and also like and also follow everything I do. Dear God, I need this. Welcome to the Tombs of a Massacre, my home for the past few weeks. While it does become wash, rinse, repeat after a few runs, I've had a lot of fun here, even if purples don't exist. Within the tombs, there are 4 sub-bosses hidden behind challenge rooms. After defeating all 4, you're up against the Wardens. 3-phase long-ass boss fight, which always gets pretty tense, even with 4 doses of ambrosia in hand. TOA's difficulty runs on an invocation system, meaning that the base raid with no invocations is considered an entry mode, or kiddie daycare. In entry mode, the bosses have very little going on outside their absolute basic core mechanics. You also have basically no chance of getting a purple. Activate a couple invocations, like Walk the Path, On a Diet, Blood Thinners, and eventually you'll get to 150 raid level. The 150 to 300 band is considered normal mode. Here you have a reasonable chance to get a purple and a slight challenge, depending on the invocations you pick. If you know the boss's mechanics and feel pretty confident, it's worth sending solo normals if you can't push too high. Personally, I'm a little stuck in normals right now. It's difficult for me to push past 200s in solos since my DPS is so low with my current gear, and also I'm turbo bad at this game. Once you hit 300s and above, you're at expert level and have the greatest chance of hitting purple chests. I'm yet to venture into experts, but I'm hoping once I get both a set, I can start tackling some. I might need a fang as well though. If you're a real masochist or a hardcore with a death wish, you can push up to a maximum of 600, at which point you'll be printing purples and have a horde of RuneScape GFs chasing after you.
Oh god.
This game needs less monkeys. Of the 4 paths, this is my least favourite by far, both the puzzle and the boss. The puzzle room here has you fighting waves of monkeys while repairing the pillars, pouring potions down the vents, and in 2+ player raids, curing each other of corruption. There's a monkey for every attack style, a volatile baboon that explodes on contact, a cursed baboon that spreads his fetid goop all over the place who needs freezing, and then the large baboon shaman who summons many smaller monkeys to punch you, and then drains your prey when he has too many monkeys to look after. After the puzzle, it's time for Baba, the largest of the monkeys. She drops rocks on you, she throws rocks at you, rolls rocks at you. Being the first boss of the raid on my route, this is usually where I make mistakes and have to chug a few brews. Pretty simple overall, just tank and spank and blow up the damaged boulders, easy peasy.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
This is by far the trickiest of the paths. Before you were 5 puzzles which require brains, finesse, memory, and problem solve, or you can install the plugin which does the puzzles for you. I feel bad for JAGEX sometimes. Kefri's a fun one. Gotta break a shield 3 times while getting pooped on, break the eggs, kill the bugs. If you're an insectophobe, you either love this room or hate this room, depending on your viewpoint. This boss is why we bring the Keras Partisan, for its damage bonus against bug-type monsters. This Partisan makes the room an absolute breeze, especially with one of the free crystals installed. The basic aim here is just stab bug, kill bug, don't get suffocated by poop. After defeating the second boss, you get a resupply with a helpful spirit. Usually here I'll take power to get 2 smelling salts, which act like overload potions, and a 2-dose adrenaline, which halves your spec cost. I saved this for the final boss. Dinosaur.
What is it?
It's a crocodile.
Like a dinosaur.
How does it look like a dinosaur? The Krondis water room is probably the most fun puzzle to do, in that it's really satisfying if you hit the 30 seconds. There are 4 paths of the waterfall at each end where you fill up a container to water a tree. Each waterfall is guarded by a set of spikes and poison vines?
Road work ahead? Yeah, I sure hope it does.
The traps are basically just a checkerboard though, so if you run correctly, you can skip all damage and fill up the tree in 2 runs before the first croc can even get to it. Zebak is a pretty chill boss for 70% of the fight. Just shoot the crocodile, pray correctly, blow up the jugs of water to clear the poison, hide behind rocks when he screams, and dodge the waves. When his health is low though, he speeds up, and it can be a little scary if you're not prepared for it. Alongside Kefri, Zebak is usually one of the fastest bosses, as long as you hit consistently.
We're just normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
I love a good light puzzle, so it's no wonder that this path is my overall favourite of the 4. There's a few statues at the entrance for you to store pickaxes, so this is where my dragon pickaxe spends most of its days now. In the centre of the room is an obelisk flanked by 2 statues, one of them shooting light and the other desperate for just a drop. Pick up a few mirrors, place them, rotate them, push them, get hit by the light beam, and then the walls come down and you mine the obelisk. As far as I remember, you can destroy the obelisk in 1 at 85 mining, but I'm only 80. And I'm not trading mining unless a slightly unsettling wheel forces me to. Akka is probably the most interesting of the 4 sub-bosses here. At all times he'll be praying against 2 attack styles, meaning you need to switch to the other. This also tests your knowledge of the combat triangle. Akka will be attacking with whatever style he's praying against that beats the other. This means at the start of the fight, for example, he'll attack with melee since it beats ranged. If you're playing with the Stay Vigilant invocation, then he'll switch at random, otherwise it will be on a set rotation. Throughout the fight, he summons spirits, you need to kill one of them at a time, and at this point he can only be damaged in the empty quadrant. He'll also occasionally disappear, and it's time to play a memory game. You need to follow the order as Simon says, otherwise you'll be caught in an explosion and Simon will kill you. When he dies, Akka decides not to, and summons orbs. This phase is maturely known by players as Akka's come phase. Great work everyone. Here, you just need to hit Akka with melee while dodging the orbs, which is easier said than done. Apart from Baba, this is the only room where I ever really need supplies, since the orbs can be real tricky to dodge even when I'm using a true tile indicator. This is probably the fattest tune in all of old school. First phase, you gotta destroy an obelisk at the centre of the room. You need to soak one side briefly to desync the special attacks. Then it's just a case of bringing down the obelisk, dodging the pyramids, and soaking damage. After the obelisk, it's time for a mano-a-mano fight with the Warden. Whichever Warden got charged more comes to life. You have to fight with mage, then range, then mage, then range, until the core is destroyed. And while you're fighting it, it starts charging up, and once it reaches max, at which point you quickly switch to your melee gear, chug an adrenaline, and put on piety and hope to god you didn't screw up and miss ticks. When attacking the core, you always hit your max hit, so it's meta to bring a dragon dagger and just keep pumping specs into it. If you time everything right, you should be able to get it down in 2. This is definitely the most frustrating part of the fight, as you need to keep an eye on what to pray against and dodge the special attacks and make sure you're ready for a switch. Finally, phase 3. This is what keeps me coming back to the raid over and over and over. The Warden slams the floor in a set pattern, left, right, and down the centre. Here you need to dodge to whichever side isn't being hit, and then into the central column. Once you get into the rhythm though, this is really easy. At certain health percentages, the boss becomes invulnerable and you have to destroy a set of skulls within a time limit. Attacking these is a one-tick action, leading to some sick-looking surfing. Some skilled players let the skulls explode and skip the damage, but I'm not no monkey, I'm just a regular human, so I don't risk that. During this phase, the boss will summon 2 of the sub-bosses to aid it, depending on which Warden you charged in the first phase. One will be Akka or Zebak, who you'll have to pray against, and the other will be Baba or Kevri, who will force you to move out their Volcath bombs. Put this all together, with staying in rhythm, and it can be tricky to pull off for the uninitiated. After the boss dies, it decides not to. The floor starts getting pulled up from the back and lightning starts striking the arena. This stage is a race against time to defeat the boss before it gets to the final row. If you do get to the final row, you're left with almost no safe space to stand. Rocks keep falling and you have to keep an eye on prayers. You're almost guaranteed to take a lot of damage. It's hectic and stress inducing, but my god is it a rush. And that's the raid! Finally, it's time for your reward of coconut milk and worthless gold bars. Purples don't exist. I've dwelled a lot on TOA, but I'm just having a lot of fun with it. If I hit a big purple drop here, it propels my bank into the stratosphere. So that's kind of what's keeping me going, really. Don't worry though, there's some other PVM that I've been doing. And time. That's by far the fastest Skillionaire to date. It also cost me 9 mil. So other than TOA, I did a bit of Muspa since I've been handed a better ranged weapon than the one I had. It's still such good money, and to be honest, one of the more fun bosses in the game in my opinion. I had a free night and I didn't feel like doing anything too stressful, so I hit up the Barrows, since the money isn't all that bad right now, and I actually ended up pulling a Verex plate skirt. And of course I did some Volcath, but this was mainly to earn some extra disposable income to pay for supplies. My bank value at the very end of the episode is 404 mil. We've made quite a bit of progress this time, definitely thanks to the Dragon Warhammer drop and the Zenite Shard. As always, a huge thanks for watching. If you found the channel off the back of my last video, why you should play RuneScape, then welcome. Your support on that one meant a huge amount to me. If you haven't subbed already, then don't forget that, and you can also follow my Twitter, which is linked in the description. Have a day, bye bye now, get home safely, don't run, you might trip, don't run, don't run. Thanks for making it right to the end. You're a real one. I hope you're having a great day today. Rather than feel good sentiment, I'm putting this one to you. It's real easy to get down in the dumps, and often we forget what makes us great. Take a look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself something that you like about yourself, even if it's a small thing. Learning to appreciate those things about yourself goes a long way.